So we stand in front of Dollar Tree and basically
such as this thing here.
All right, I'm excited to have a guest.
Metal right here, of course, everyone is.
Cuba is like they're under a dictator.
Welcome to another episode of the People's Talk Show. And nevertheless, we're back at it for a midweek Wednesday live stream. And as always, looking forward to connecting and finding out what you guys are keeping your eyes on, as well as just sharing some thoughts on recent trends, topics of all sorts. You know how we do it over here at the People's Talk Show. Anyway, welcome. My name is Mike, the host of Detroit's #1 late night YouTube talk show. And as always, man, looking forward to connecting, man, and finding out what's going on. And yeah, just once again, never dull moment. And right now, what is catching everyone's attention happens to be Tucker Carlson. And so I shared a little video earlier today in reference to the possibility of the European Union decide to put him on the sanctions list and the travel ban and things like that. And the question is really for what? I just have some very, I think I see things through a different set of conditions, given the fact that no matter what this interview reveals, what real truth will come out of it other than things that the alternative media has been talking about for quite some time now, just because I think, too much truth would definitely probably incriminate somehow, some way, the powers that be, as well as lump Putin up in there as well. So I don't have much expectations for the interview. But then again, some people might think it's going to blow the top off the lid and really expose the enemy for what they are. But then again, we'll get to that. But before we do, I want to make sure everything is flowing smoothly. Let me know how the audio is so that I can make sure that there's no interruptions for this live stream. Because as always, right when it gets juicy is when I tend to have some technical difficulties. So but anyway, just, switching things up a little bit on my end to generate more energy so I can just be charged up for this live stream tonight. I think it's going to be a good one. And so I have maybe 7, 8, 9, 10 tabs open, all relevant to things that caught my attention and things that may not have caught your attention. Don't know. That's why I love to bring it to you guys and let your voice be heard. So let me acknowledge a couple people. And also, as you guys come in, I want to make sure that you guys don't neglect to hit that thumbs up button. And also, I realize that just looking on the back end, especially we're in February now, and I mentioned a couple weeks ago how Google, YouTube, Alphabet, ultimately the owner of this particular medium that you're watching me from here on YouTube, put out a warning to all content creators that some type of event could possibly be coming in February. And that event is something that they want to stay on top of as far as controlling the narrative. So could this interview reveal some things that could be lumped into that event? I don't know. But my point is, I was thinking I can continue to encourage people to hit the thumbs up, hit the bell, but ultimately channels that speak more against the grain are the ones that will probably be put under the under the table anyway. So it's like, okay, should I even continue to tell people to hit the bell and subscribe, stuff like that? Just because, based upon what I'm seeing on my side here, it doesn't really seem to really, hit the needle one way or another. But I'll be remiss if I don't encourage people to right now, as you're looking, whether you're on a phone or on a laptop or whatever, desktop, whatever, check and see next to the subscribe button. And then if you want, click all notifications so that you'll always be notified, whether it be shorts, interviews, live streams. So there won't be no chance of the algorithms mistaking the fact that you perhaps want to be notified when things come from RTD TV. So just want to put that out there for people if you haven't already, just because, I'll keep doing it. But also that's why I'm trying to transition more to a Rumble, as I mentioned. So definitely hoping that remains somewhat free and available in the short term. So anyway, let's keep it moving, man. So what else we got going on here? Let me acknowledge a couple people. and try to make this as smooth as possible. Let me see who we got checking in with us. We have Barlight Broker. We have Ed checking in. We got Lyndon checking in. MW checking in as well. There are many, he says, there are many control freaks. Two sides of every story. We need to hear both sides. Oh, 100%. I do agree. It's good to hear two sides of a story to formulate our own opinions. But then again, outside of the good guy, bad guy, East versus West narrative that just seems to be played out in movies and real life and books, you name it, just seems to be the way life goes. I've never really painted Putin as being like that guy that is really 100% for truth, given the fact that everything that is developing within his country, from the technological takeover with digital IDs and all those things I mentioned before, his country's in lock and step with that stuff. So whether it's politically motivated, geopolitical, or monetary motivated, they're all countries are heading in the same direction. So that's why I'm like, okay, what can he really say? What can he really reveal that would really be like, oh, I didn't know that. Like, I just at this current moment, I don't see him being that guy. But then again, I got some more things I want to share with that. So, but I hear you though. It's more information to take in, more stuff to distract, confuse, stuff that the media tends to do. We got Daryl checking in. We got Bonnie checking in as well. This dude change his name all the time. Biden Harris, was that Biden Harris 30, 24? Okay. Benny checking in. Appreciate you, man. All right. I don't want to keep you guys too long. I want to get straight to the nitty gritty, open up the phone lines and hear from you guys and see what's up. Paul from Eugene checking in as well. Okay. Yeah, man. So let me jump right into it. So this is what is trending right now. Tucker, and the fact that tomorrow at 6 p.m., he apparently is going to release his interview, 2-hour interview with Vladimir Putin. And the question that I want to put out there to you guys is, will this really matter? And are the globalists really scared or concerned that there's going to be some type of truth revealed that could disrupt their game plan and throw them off or set them back, 1 or 2 steps in the globalist heist to take over humanity? And then that's when I say, nah, I just don't see it, man. As much as I would like to say that this interview is going to be some type of game changer, other than the fact that, Tucker, since he's gotten fired from Fox, he's grown. His popularity has grown tremendously. And him being a free thinker, critical thinker at that, and a proponent for free speech, I'm excited the fact that gentlemen like him are able to have their voices heard via X as well as their own platforms. But then again, most people aren't really dialed into these type of events. And so he's going to be more so reinforcing the movement behind the libertarian / alternative media narratives that has been going on for quite some time, which has bit by bit woken people up. But then again, I just don't see nothing coming out of this of substantial. But one thing I wanted to mention, now that I'm at it, I commented on someone made a comment. So I want to share this comment if I can, if my computer decides to work. Okay. Keyboard is not working. There we go. Hold on. So I want to share with you a comment that I responded to, if I can get the keyboard working. Okay, forgive me. So I want to share with you a comment that someone posted over on Instagram. And so I seem to get more interaction on Instagram. Let me grab this real quick. Let me see here. Give me 1 second. No, give me 1 second here. As always, all right, let me Okay, so I posted a video. Let me just share my screen real quick. Bear with me, people. As always, work in progress. So I shared the short I did earlier talking about the sanctions and the possible travel ban. So I shared it on pretty much all socials, and I get a lot of interaction on Instagram. So I tend to reply and share my thoughts, or whatever. And so just looking at some of the comments, a gentleman by the name of James. Let me move myself out the way here. Gentleman by the name of James here. Big up to him. He put Tucker is over the target, and those that fear the information he will share are clearly on the attack. No doubt. Listen, learn, lead. I'm like, okay, that sounds good. I left it at that. But then I'm thinking like, okay, just some other thoughts that came to mind. And I'm like, this is what I commented to his question. And it's not like, just me sharing my thoughts, but I put, not expecting to hear anything new. Putin will describe the globalist agenda in greater detail from his perspective, but he won't drop any names outside of what we already know. And I'll probably put drop any names or events outside of what we already know. And I said, figures like him and Trump tell you I'll probably put Milei in there as well. Figures like him and Trump tell you the obvious problems, yet never highlight the culprits outside of the public eye that are used by the principalities and powers that have hijacked our governments globally. So that, in a nutshell, kind of summarizes what I'm anticipating on hearing tomorrow. We'll get a couple oohs and ahs. It'll be like captivating and mesmerizing in a sense, as far as like, similar to Milei's speech when he went into World Economic Forum and basically told all those people around him that they're the problem in a sense. But then again, right now he's in Israel kissing the wall and talking about moving the Argentinian embassy to Jerusalem. Like, so, I just don't see much coming from it other than just some good sound bites, some good headlines and things of that nature. But I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. That's why I hope I'm wrong. But as of right now, given the trend, like most people tend to tell you what you already know with a little bit of icing on top to get you excited as a part of the whole lure of keeping people sucked in and thinking that as I always say, like there's a shiny armor, there's a knight coming on a white horse sometime soon to save us from this, ruling order of this, Babylonian structure that, has to play itself out until there's only one that can save us from all this. But then again, you guys know who his name is. So, all right. So that's just my little rant. But anyway, okay. I don't want to rant any longer, but I had to share that just because I thought it was interesting. Okay. So another, I'll go in no particular order here. There's no particular order. I'll just go through some things that I happen to have bookmark real quick. Oh no, I'll stick to the script. And so what do you guys think about this? I'll just keep it sweet and simple. Tucker Carlson could face sanctions over Putin interview on top of travel ban or whatever. And so the thing I mentioned from the short was if the EU considers him to be a propagandist that is favoring and putting the EU in danger and all stuff like that, and they're thinking about taking action like that, what do you think the U.S. going to do? And I lumped him in there with Eric Snowden just because Eric Snowden, whether regardless of what we think of him, what your personal feelings or opinions might be of him, to me, the fact that he exposed something that the public wouldn't have known, to me, is more on the heroic status than it is the enemy or villain. And so technically, Carlson can be labeled as an enemy of truth. And the fact is the governments and all the spy machines are designed to keep truth from the people. And so if the EU goes through with all this, if this interview is, if it disrupts and exposes some things, and the EU decides to put something on top of him, you better believe he may not either be welcome home, or when he come home, the guy gonna have some major issues to deal with. So, but we'll have to wait and see how this all plays out. But it's just what's happening in the news. So, and then speaking of which, here's some other things developing outside and under our nose. Strategic collaboration. And so it says Russia, China, and Iran unite for naval exercises in the Gulf of Oman. It says for these exercises, where my mouse go? For these exercises aimed at enhancing cooperation and showcasing military prowess, several nations, including Brazil, Oman, India, South Africa, and neighboring Caspian Sea countries, have received invitations to participate as observers. So we have NATO, we got Germany, Poland, and I think another country. I can't think off the top of my head. You guys know 3 countries right now gearing up, exercising, moving east towards the bordering states for the NATO exercises and military. Then we got Russia, China, and Iran, and all the other observers. So you got the Europe and the G7 nations predominantly, and then we got Russia, China, and Iran, and naval exercises observers also preparing for something. So East versus West. Will they meet up in the Middle East or something like that? I don't know, but everybody seems to be preparing for something. Okay, keep it moving. And here's another story that caught my attention. This was from yesterday, but I saw a lot of video of things happening out in Cali, man, like mudslides and storms and cars underwater. And so when we spoke, I think it was on Monday, one of the brothers from Philly or from New York, California called in mentioning that he was under pressure. He's thinking it's more like just some conventional rain, but the videos I'm seeing and the stories I'm hearing lets me know that in certain pockets it's a lot more than just your typical rain season. So I don't know, but flood watch for 38 million in California. Governor declares emergency. This seems pretty serious, but then again, when you're able to do things in the air, anything is possible. So curious to find out from my people in Cali if something's changed. If not, or this just could be, fear tactics in the media. I don't know. And then on to the banks, man. We got moved. We got the New York Community Bancorp, man. These guys seem to be setting a standard. And one thing I saw some comparisons of portfolio performances if people had the banking index in their portfolio, as well as the green energy sector and one or two other sectors that right now the globalists would love to see push forward and booming, but they're like down severely, man. But just a quick glance at some of the figures. This is from yesterday, but then again, I'm sure ain't much change. But New York Community Bank down 60%. And it says U.S. regional bank stocks first month. Valley National Bank. We got Metropolitan Bank, Harbor One, Commercial Bank, Zions Bank, Western Alliance, Citizens and Key Corp. It says regional bank worries resurface as New York Community Bank, which acquired the collapsing Signature Bank, cut their dividend by 70%. These are the same banks that hold nearly 70% of commercial real estate loans. Just 10 months ago, the regional bank crisis ended, supposedly. So once again, the banking sector. And then you have, what's the name, downgraded. And I'm like, given the current landscape we're in now, the current landscape we're in now, when you have banks is downgraded to like junk status, and to think that outside of majority of the banks, like they're all the same. They're not holding nothing physical or nothing with intrinsic value. So is it possible to just lump them all under the same credit rating as just junk? in relation to people being able to get their funds out because there's nothing there, and B, based upon the way the system is set up, like, even if you got it all out in time, the currency is still the weapon of choice that the federal government and the central bank is using to try to keep this bubble inflated. So it's like you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. So it's like, throw up a peace sign. And the reason I say that, it's just like there's no financial future in a fiat currency note. Yeah. And I've been saying it since day one. I'm going to say it until everybody recognizes. But New York Community Bancorp's credit rating downgraded to junk on real estate concerns. And so based upon the previous page I just showed in reference to a lot of the other banks that are all experiencing situations right now, and these are all the mid-tier banks. Like, these ain't the G-SIBs. These are the ones beneath the G-SIBs. And so imagine if them boys just start like dominoes, like the FDIC won't be able to step in time to shore all that up. So you're talking about the potential of panic and concern to where people call themselves trying to run to the bank. I think they learned a lesson back in March when people literally using their cell phones were able to transfer funds by the stroke of a thumb out of that account and into one more stable, i.e. the G-SIB, to where you better believe, like that article I showed over 2 weeks ago, where the EU is giving certain commercial banks rather, permission to pay attention to social media, to make sure that there's no trends picking up to where people are starting to panic and spreading misinformation about the solvency of the banks, so they can stay ahead of that. So it's good to say if they're doing it in Europe, they're doing it here. So we shouldn't be surprised. So there should be no surprises. Jay says JP Morgan, of course, is swallow them up, no doubt. And here's the thing: if all these commercial banks, let me pull up my banking chart real quick. If all these banks, let me find my, let me grab this one here. If all these banks just happen, so here we have, let me move myself out the way here. This is 20 largest banks in the U.S. And so the largest banks in the U.S., here's just a little graph here. And so JP Morgan's sitting on 3.38 trillion. And then you get all the small boys around them. And so all these smaller, darker bubbles, First Republic Bank, all these smaller dots here are the ones that are experiencing the issues right now, in a sense, Fifth Third, State Street, whatever. And so literally all these darker bubbles are vulnerable right now because the central bank will be more than willing to consolidate and let these smaller dots, the darker ones, pop, or basically go on a fire sale. Like all these all these smaller dots here can be sold to the big bubbles, the Citibanks, JP Morgan Chases, for fractions on a dollar, similar to SVB, how it was absorbed into New York Community Bancorp for pennies on a dollar. So literally all these dark bubbles can just be absorbed into the big boys, making the too big to fail that much more too big to fail. But they can't fail because they're shareholders in the Federal Reserve, and the Federal Reserve and the central banking model is in business to make sure that they're propped up and taken care of before anyone else. So at the end of the day, we can actually see less banks, bigger banks, and somehow, some way, every American that has an account, once it goes through their digital identification protocol and it goes into the coffers of the too big to fail banks, which will be less than 5 or 6 at a time, it makes it easier to continue the program moving forward, further consolidating power to the hands of a small few. So we're on track for everything that they've always planned. Anyway, that's enough ranting itself. Keep it moving. What else we got here? Oh, and if you didn't know, now you know. I'm seeing more videos of just stupidity, and it catches my attention because here you got a video of, I don't know if he's just a local kid or he could be a foreigner, but he's just going into Apple store and just snatching them. He has pockets full, or he just stuff them in his pants full of iPhone products that may not even work. They may be like dummy phones, possibly, to where he's walking out and no one's stopping him. We're in the age of what I call zombie. I had a term for it earlier. I can't think of it. It was kind of catchy. And the reason I say zombie, because the next thing I'm seeing is countless videos. I'm gonna put it in here. We in a world of zombie youth, where you got people just everywhere now that these Apple Pro Visions are out. And like, I'm thinking, this is our youth. This is our future right here. You got kids out here just walking around downtown, and all they got on these things on their face. And everybody is just beyond excited to walk around looking like they just plugged into the Matrix. Like, this is the closest thing to get plugged in right here, until it's actually in your skin. But this is interesting, man, how people, I'm seeing countless videos, and this is just me ranting off the top. But anyway, it's trending right now. So it's very popular. And of course, I just, my kids are like saying, wait, Dad. I'm like, come on now. Anyway, okay, on to more stuff. A couple more here, and I open the phone lines up. Here we have an interesting story. Nikki Haley just lost a GOP primary to none of these candidates. So it looks like the Nevada primary, despite there being no Republican candidates on the top, somehow, some way. Who should have been there, who would have been there, would have been Trump, but they took him off, it looks like. And so none of these candidates got 26,000 votes over Nikki Haley and Mike Pence. And I thought Mike Pence dropped out. So this lets us know how this upcoming presidential cycle is about to be the most just like nonsensical presidential policies and things that just won't make any sense. And speaking of that, I put out a survey into the community based upon this question right here. Let me bring this up. So this was a question that that was put out there, or I grabbed a question from there. It says, breaking. Former President Trump says that he wants to debate President Biden ahead of November's general election. And I'm like, once again, it's not going to happen. So I put it out there to you guys. And so we had, let me see, get myself out of the way. There were 241 people responded, and we can see the results right here. So basically, everybody, 93% says that, no, there's no way it's going to happen. There's no way it's going to happen. And before the general election, yeah, the chance of them debating, like, what can they say? What new can either one of them say other than just talk about the policies that they both were instructed to pull off? So anyway, I thought that was interesting. All right, what else we got here? A couple more stories here, and I won't bore you anymore. But here's an interesting story that I'm sure you may not have heard about. So let me zoom out some so it's not so big. But apparently in Chile, there has been some wildfires. But then again, these fires don't look like they're wild directly. They look like something similar to what happened in Hawaii. But it says recent devastating fires have ravaged the country of Chile, barely documented by the mainstream media. More strange reports from locals posting eyewitness visits following destruction. What do you see? And the primary thing of what I saw was, look at that car right there. That car was like scorched, like everything was just gone. And then you go a little bit up the street here, and you see vegetation. Like those trees are burnt, but the cars are scorched. So what type of fire leaves a tree but scorches a vehicle? And I'd assume we have some melted, so fire so hot, it just melted entire steel. So point in case is, it looks like the usage of some type of weaponry perhaps is causing more disasters in targeted areas where the powers that be, the principalities and powers from higher up, have a plan to probably continue to push those 15-minute cities and smart cities and areas like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's more countries that have these wildfires popping up where they just scorch a large amount of land and designated it like some type of governmental, free zone for them to, similar to what's happening in Hawaii, where they're still not able to get compensated for their losses and not able to rebuild in that area because the government deems it like public land now or something like that. So yeah, okay, that's just some stories that you may not have heard about. I don't know, maybe you have. A couple more here. Here we have California McDonald's, Chipotle to see further price increases as minimum wage skyrockets to $20 an hour. And so what does that mean? That means your burger's going to go up, all meals going to go up. So it says the consumers who are voters must have known that we're getting into by promoting this legislation to raise the minimum wage from 15 to 20 and on its way to 25. So ultimately, what that means is a Big Mac will end up costing. It says some McDonald's shoppers complained about prices reaching $18 for a combo meal. A restaurant operator makes anywhere from 5 to 15% of the bottom line at the end of the year. And if your labor cost is 1/3 of your cost, so 30%, and you raise the wage from 15 to 20 to 25 over the next year, you're almost doubling that cost. And so they're going to have to raise prices. So yeah, that's interesting. And then here we have another one. DocuSign plans to cut 6% of its workforce. Like we're literally witnessing the tech sector bit by bit decide to trim some of their expenditures, i.e. their payroll, all for the idea of turning a greater profit and making the shareholders richer, while also either doing buybacks to make their stocks look stronger and better and more desirable, while probably also, for depending on what company, paying out a higher dividend. So, yeah, the people who made these companies operate, they're for the most part expendable, because I'd imagine those 6%, 10%, or whatever has been cutting in all those tech companies, they're easily substituting some of those departments for AI, automation, robotics type things, to where, it starts off as 10% of the workforce, and 20, then 30, then 40, to where literally they want to probably trim it down to where there's minimum payroll, so there's more profit for them. So this is the new economy that we're heading into. This is the new economy of the future that they want for this country and other countries as well. So what does that mean? It's going to be more of a push for the Universal Basic Allowance, UBA. All right. Gold appears to be doing some things. Why? Looks like somebody saying China. China's New Year buyers look to gold as stocks and property crash. So, yeah. Whether or not this is true, we know that the Eastern Hemisphere loves gold for multiple reasons, whether it be wearing it as well as wealth preservation. So, wouldn't surprise me one bit that people are deciding to opt out and get into something tangible. Just the people in the West that don't really know what money is. So, but then again, we shouldn't be surprised. But in the Western Hemisphere, as the debt bubble implodes, cost of living goes up, company profitability is in question, it's going to be hard for tax revenues to continue to support government efforts. So they won't be able to make those promises to pay the way they thought they would when they started the whole retirement Ponzi. And so the goal will probably be to raise the age limit globally, country by country. So it's not really talked about here in the U.S. because we have elections coming up. But you better believe after elections, on top of other things, how to balance our budget and stuff like that will also come with negotiations and talks on Social Security and things of that nature that is not there already. But then again, they can't admit it to the public. But there'll be some narratives. But this was an interesting headline because this is the UK. This is a country that had the reserve currency 100 plus years ago. And now, things aren't, looking too rosy for the retirees there. But this is from a think tank. It says, raise retirement age to 70 or Britain will go bust, warns a think tank. So it's good to say they put together some interesting facts. I didn't have a chance to read it, but I just know that, it's no way paying it back anyway, paying, retirees or anybody else back. So it don't take, much to really know that the trajectory is unsustainable, as Jerome Powell loves to mention. But anyway, 70, could you imagine? Yeah, I can. Or I can really imagine like just the idea of retirement for my generation and younger no longer being there. Okay, more debt problems. It says vulnerable countries need debt relief now or never. New report warns. So real sweet and simple. A report says that 62 developing countries are in a full-blown debt crisis. It says near record numbers spend at least 20% of the revenues servicing debt. It says report comes ahead of the Global Sovereign Debt Roundtable. So all of the developed world, pretty much Africa and all the surrounding nations, pretty much all second, third world countries for the most part, are up to the wazoo in dollar-denominated debt. Therefore, they're having to readjust their balance sheets to support that debt. So ultimately, what they're doing is weaponizing their own currency for their people. And so more of their people are being robbed of their livelihoods by their own currencies in efforts to try to make some type of profit whatsoever to pay off that dollar-denominated debt. So, 62 countries, and that's probably being gentle. So, point in case is we got the retirement is a debt problem, and we got actual debt relief needed or else for a country. So, yeah, no way out. All right, that's enough of my rant, man. That's enough of my rant. Let's get the phone lines open. But before I do that, everybody who's here right now, if you have not, as always, hit the thumbs up button one time to show your boys some support. And then what I'll do is I will try to get the phone lines open so that we can communicate. And if you guys have thoughts, ideas, suggestions, feel free to let me know. And we can definitely make something work here. But before I do that, let me acknowledge my people at Fort Patriots, as always, because they've been they've really been a blessing to the community as well as the channel. So I'm gonna just check in out, just show you guys what's going on with them. People at fortpatriots.com for supporting the channel, as well as providing the community a chance to get their preparedness game up in real time. So the goal is, of course, to encourage people to be ready for anything at any time. Because at this current moment, some people are actually scared that they may not have enough food or electricity when the lights go out. That's why I'm going to continue to encourage people. If you haven't already, make sure you check out fortpatriots.com/RTD, where you get a chance to get things that will help you be ready when, not if, things hit the fan. As you can see here, they got a variety of products to meet your every need, so you'll always be prepared for whatever comes next. And one of the products that's getting a lot of attention nowadays happens to be Patriot Power Generator 2000X, which can be a great emergency backup if you don't have one already. And while you're at it, you should take advantage of Fort Patriot's best-selling food kits. It comes in a variety of assortments when you need them, and also got a 25-year shelf life. And surprisingly enough, as more meat processing plants go offline, these kits offer real that can come in handy. I've been very fortunate to have them support the channel because it's something I take advantage of myself. So if you want to find out more, go to fortpatriots.com/RTD, which is a special page which shows you their weekly deals and discounts. So definitely check them out by getting your calories up and also supporting the channel. Appreciate you. Let's get into some news. All right, let's get this party started, people. Get it started. Yeah, man, it's going to be an interesting couple of months. That's for sure. That is for sure, and never a dull moment. It's going to always be something to chat about. And so, retire when you die, 100%, man. Like, just that concept. You know, I was thinking about that earlier. You know, the concept of retirement being an industrial age model that happened to really spur on the development of this country and the whole capitalist model of, well, it used to be capitalist model of actually having capital to invest. You had the working class that was saving, then you had the savers who were able to invest in the development of businesses, infrastructure. But over time, that kind of went away. And so here we are now. Capitalist model is far from what it used to be, where it's, you know, either you have or you have not. There ain't much room for in between. And that system is literally unraveling right now as we speak. But you guys know that. So let's get some calls. Let me get this on here. Hello, Carlson. Where are we calling from?
Hey, Mike. It's Mike from Pacoima, California.
Mike from Cali. What's going on, man? Give me the good word. A little bit of rain?
If I could talk right now, it would help, wouldn't it? Hurricane Hillary last year was quicker, more intense.
Mm-hmm.
This storm is more longer and drawn out.
Now, yeah. But what about, here's the thing. Here's the question. So what about when the water backs up and it starts flooding and people can't drive and mudslides and, you know, insurance issues with, you know, water damage? And so what about when things happen like that?
Down here, we're on the flat of the valley here.
Yeah. Yeah.
It rains up in the mountains and it washes everything down that's been stacking up for years because we don't get rain out here too often.
Yeah.
It washes down the mountain, you know.
So
where slides tend to happen. These things happen naturally all throughout California.
Mhm.
We have a ridge line of mountains that follow the beach, and everything is just valleys and crevices and just goes straight. It rinses from the top of the mountain down to the ocean.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like, you know, your experience is different than others, of course. So just from some of the videos I saw that was trending, that's why it caught my attention. And I'm not sure if they were old videos or not, but yeah. I hear you, man. But no, yeah. So Mhm.
Topic real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
like on the quote unquote world stage. You know why they call it a stage? It's because it's an act, Mike.
I like that.
What, 5-6 years ago now, the G20, they were all in this together.
Yeah. 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 Something or nothing. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised one bit, man. But hey, appreciate you calling, man. Yeah, go ahead. Oh.
One again in here in the United States.
Yeah, good point. I know the three. All right, man. Appreciate you calling, boss man. Yeah, be good. Yeah. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Yeah, so obviously everybody's experience is different. So I know there perhaps might be some other people out there who have a little bit of a different experience in reference to that weather situation. But then again, what are your thoughts on this whole Tucker Carlson and Putin situation? What are you guys thinking? Like, is just a little bit of nothing? You expecting to hear something new, or is more of the same, or what? Give me a call. Let me know your thoughts. All viewpoints are welcome. And as I mentioned before, for those who might just be getting in, like, I'm not expecting to hear anything. It says can't hear the caller. All right, that could be an issue. Yeah. So yeah, I'll try another call if I can and see if there's volume. We can keep it going. If not, then this particular setup may not work. So may not have a call-in portion. So instead of calling in, you know what I like to do? Let's do some face-to-face, people. And so I'm gonna put the link in the chat. So feel free to join me face-to-face and let your voice be heard. But then again, my computer wants to act up on me. So I'll put the link in the chat for those who want to join me face to face. If we can't have the call-in portion, so feel free to let me know. But then Z says CIA Tucker. So let's play out. If Tucker happens to be a controlled opposition, disguised as a truth seeker / free thinker / whatever we want to call him, as a part of the psyop. And so say if he is one. So literally this whole interview with Putin and all this disruptive stuff is designed to accomplish what? Is it to get the Libertarian Party and the Patriot movement, the MAGA hat supporters, like roused up and get them fired up and get them what? Because as of right now, it don't take much to get people fired up to support Trump. We got Stephen A. Smith on his show talking about Biden and the 53 million in New York. We got Snoop Dogg. We got 50 Cent. We got all the black community now bigging up, Trump now. So you really don't need to do much to get them fired up. So, but I have a call and then I also have a face-to-face. Let's get this face-to-face comes first. Let me get him on the screen here, but I can't see him. Mr. Dennis, let me get this out your face, man. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, Mike. How are you?
I am doing good, man. Give me your thoughts on Tucker and Putin. What are you expecting, if anything?
Well, I don't expect anything earth-shattering like the questions that we would like to ask about gold being crown primary money, things like that, and fake wars and being provoked into a war. I mean, that's what the United States of Israel exists for, is to create war.
Yeah. So basically a lot of nothing.
No, I mean, if you're hearing on the mainstream news, it's because they want you to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Tucker came from Fox, and Fox is controlled by the CIA. And all these news networks they give you the man who's going to give you a little bit of truth, but it's nothing major, no names of who's causing all this dysfunction. I mean, the bottom line with this is the problem is government.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. Like governance is our biggest issue, and the fact that the current model and structure we have has been hijacked. Special interests, non-government or entities, as well as the oligarchy families, who are the behind the scene, as I say, puppeteers or the string holders, string masters, and all the politicians and all the celebrities and whoever's been given, I guess, permission to be the truth tellers. They know their limits. Like Putin knows his limits. He knows what he can and can't say because he wants to continue to be president of his land and do his agenda with his people. So he ain't gonna tell us nothing that we don't know. Is what I'm expecting.
Yeah, and if you remember, about a year ago, the United States was mobilizing a lot of their military equipment to Poland.
Mm-hmm.
And it appears that Poland is going to be invading the Ukraine and then eventually Russia with the backing of NATO. So things are escalating, but gold is never wrong. And it's telling us, hey, things are calm right now, no problem. But that could change.
Any minute. It could change any minute. And when it does, that right there definitely, I think, is more of a disruption to their plans than anything we can hear from any of these talking heads, for sure. Because numbers don't lie, especially something that they're trying to suppress and make sure that people don't find out about and run towards. They rather you run towards the ETF, the Bitcoin ETF, get you excited about that.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
man.
you also have what's going on at the border, which Abbott, the wheelchair governor, literally put on his where he's at. He's had 3 years of people crossing the border. Why is it all of a sudden
Right
a
now.
big problem, and he's going to come in for election purposes? A lot of times the United States does this when they realize that there could be a civil war, which is caused by governments, which is caused by currency creation.
Mm-hmm.
But where I'm going with this is, if they can start the civil war, they can control it. It's like a brush fire, a preventative fire rather than a fire sparking when you have 15-mile-an-hour winds, when people are out of control and you cannot control them. I think that's where the United States is headed with this border situation, as a distraction to contain something that could escalate into something much bigger. You've had some callers recently regarding the draft, which I don't think any parent in their right mind would allow their child to, serve in the military. But doesn't it look terrible, or the country look weak, if they can't fund an army or get people to join? I mean, that's the time when, if you're an enemy of the United States, you think you'd want to attack. They're weak.
Right. And I mean, in worst case scenario, like even if you get our youth, all our youth is not all, but a good portion of what our youth is used to is with their right thumb and not scrolling on a screen. They ain't used to no type of active interaction with armory and things like that. So I'm not necessarily sure I want our youth, going to defend our country, if it's, because it's not about defending our country, but those kids out there, they not cut from that cloth of protecting and dying for their country. So that would be a bad idea anyway. So of course it's not about putting kids in a position to win anything anyway. So it's more so just to throw some pawns out ahead so the kings can strategize behind them, in a good old game of chess. So, but hey, man, appreciate you calling as always and sharing your 2 cents, man. Thank you for blessing us with your presence as always.
Good night, Mike. Take care.
Be good.
Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, man. Mr. Dennis from Yashaba. Appreciate it, man. And I have been missing buku calls, so hopefully you guys can actually hear the audio. So feel free. I apologize. Didn't mean to neglect you, but video comes first. And I want to make sure I get my people on here. People who want to bless me with their presence. All right, what else we got here in the chat? Feel free to throw some ideas, thoughts, suggestions, or whatever out there. Make it work. We got nothing that's happening at the border. Okay. Depending on how you define nothing. Not sure. Depending on how you define nothing. All right. Hello, Carlson. Where you calling from?
Yeah, Mike, Steve. Steve Breeze 9.
Steve, what's going on, my friend?
Hey, good segue. again, which I ask again to anyone listening, what are we going to do about this? Because eventually they're going to come around and ask for our kids.
Mm-hmm.
So I come back to this question again. Every time that I've talked about this, I come back to the same question.
Yeah.
What are we going to do? I don't have the answer for it.
Right.
I don't have the answer for it. I'm looking for an answer for it. But I got to tell you, in all honesty, well, let's put it this way. Something, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know that they have a good BS meter, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to say this, and I stand by it. TB there's a BS meter going off with him. I don't believe that man has worked for a company that was sending.
Well, watch this, Steve. Watch this. Before you finish, I don't want to go down our pathway. And so just because I know that this can tend to lead to some division amongst the community. And so I don't know, I've never met you, I've never met him, so I don't know anything other than what we hear. So let's just keep it, love between the community, because I know this could go somewhere where it ain't supposed to go. So everybody has their own opinions and thoughts and meters. Everybody read things differently. So I'm going to leave it at that. How about that? We just not go there.
I get that, but let's put it this way, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Contractors don't work for people who don't have that background.
Mm-hmm.
The people have that background.
I don't know. I don't know. And I'm sure he'll call in and share his 2 cents. But then again, I don't want to make this episode about, the draft, because anything is possible. We don't know. Let's just say the solution. What's the solution to it? Is like you said, like what we go back to, what do we do about it? That's where we need to talk about more of that than, meters and word of mouth. And yeah.
Same time, when people are calling in talking about, well, I worked for this.
You there? Look, was you, Steve? You're going in and out. So I'm gonna let that one ride. But no, I appreciate your calling, man. Huh? Okay. That's the thing. Like, so collectively, there is nothing that there won't be union or parent teacher, like a parent rally saying don't send your kid. I mean, so literally it's going to be every family, every individual, and then a trend will start. Whatever that trend is, will probably be coming to news. Parents are now, taking their kids and flooding to the border, and parents are standing up to the government and not letting their kids sign up. And so it'll come through that, but it won't happen collectively first. It's going to be family by family until there's a group effort of some kind. So that's the only thing I see actually being possible. Yeah.
From this, and I think there will be a big pushback.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess the point that I'm trying to get across, that frustrates me, is that when somebody's saying that, well, there's going to be contractors.
Hey, Steve, all right, I'm letting it go. Let it go. We'll talk later, man. Have a good one.
All right, take care.
Yeah. Let's get LBP on here, man. LBP, help make sense of everything, man.
Hey, Mike. Hey, what do you call it? You triggered that guy, man. Oaktown T, he triggered him. What happened?
No. And that's where, so it's just literally it's just a misunderstanding. That's all. That's what I'll chalk it up as. We got a couple people in the community who have different levels of expertise and different, senses of guidance towards different things. But the primary subject is the kids. Let's just focus on the kids. How do we protect our kids if it comes to the point of a draft? Go ahead.
Look, Mike, this is what you do, okay? You get one of these, I don't know if you can you see it.
Yeah,
Okay. Wait, let me get my camera right. Okay,
I
right. You
got
get
you.
one of these.
Passport. You got a
Okay, you
passport.
throw that one away, and then you get one of these. Can you see it?
Yeah, unfortunately, LVP, not everybody have it.
You
Like
see
you
it?
know, not everybody have ancestral, linkage to another country like that, or 100, 200,000 to go buy one.
And then you go get some wire cutters, and then you cut the wire, and you go back south, or you cut the wires and you come back north. You see, you gotta have a pair of those too, Mike.
Man, you're a nut, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no. So I guess your solution for to protect your kids would be, as you showed there, you have a passport, so your kids are also under the Mexican jurisdiction, so you guys can leave when it comes to American situation here. But what about if it's a global event and Mexico decides to, reach out and all the newest citizens of our country get drafted first?
I'm too old, Mike. I'm an old man.
But then again, what about your kids as your kids get older?
I don't know, Mike. I guess we'll have to call Steve because
Man, you're a nut, man.
it's all love, Mike.
You're a
It's
nut.
all love. Hey, what's going on? This Tucker Carlson thing, it was kind of weird. Like they said, oh, we saw him at the airport. There's all these little rumors coming out that like nuggets come out, and then they're gonna
Mhm.
they said they're gonna all that. Man, it sounds like it's all fake, Mike.
I don't doubt he sits across from Vladimir Putin, but then again, like what we hear between them conversing for 2 hours and what really took place and what actually can move the needle in some capacity is going to be far in between. I don't see nothing being done. Like I don't see like Washington D.C. being exposed and no names coming out, nothing like that. It's just going to be the same people, and he may drop a couple nuggets we didn't know from his perspective, but once again, we ain't gonna get no documentation, no facts, no stats, nothing like that. So on to the next story, man. But I hope I wouldn't be mad if it actually disrupted some things and led to some exposure of some things that we did not know about that could really wake people up for whatever that's worth these days. So hey, we have to wait and see, man.
What's your plan for your children, Mike? I know you have sons.
Yeah, so both of them a little bit older, and I'm like, if something jumps off, we on the first thing in a direction I don't know. I'll let the Holy Spirit lead me and to where I should go, whether up, down, west, east. I know for sure. I'm confident I would not willingly co-sign on my children volunteering for something that we don't believe in or stand for. So that's just me.
All right, yeah. That's all you could do. It's all
Exactly.
up
And
to
let the let,
God,
let the
Mike.
chips, let the chips fall where they may, man. I mean, everything's in God's hands anyway. So I mean, if it's meant for them to go somewhere to protect and serve, I'll have to rest with the fact that they'll be blessed and covered with favor, and they'll come out unscathed the way they went in. That's what I'll be believing for, in the name of Jesus. All
Sounds good, Mike. I just want to
right, man.
apologize, everybody. I'm in my closet hiding. I don't want you to. These are my dresses behind me. Don't think I'm one of
Hey,
those guys.
LBP, whatever you do behind closed doors in your closet, it's your business. I'll leave it at that.
I'm about to come out the closet right now. As long as once I get off this.
Hey, just make sure you leave the heels in the closet. I'll talk to you later, man.
All right.
Bye.
All right, Mike. Thanks for taking my call.
See ya. Yeah. Make sure you leave the heels in the closet. Oh my goodness. 100% war isn't good for anybody. There's no winners, man. Nothing but casualties. But then again, if you invest in the military industrial complex now, they're going to take off like rockets and you'll be able to profit along with them if that sits with you morally. All right, let's get a call in. Let me see here. Hello, Carlson. Where you calling from?
Mike, Tony from Oakland. How you doing, brother?
TB, doing good, man. What's new?
Hi. It's too late for games, man. You know, we need to come together as a community.
Yeah.
And now, when I come on here and tell you things, I tell you things in order for you to do the research yourself.
Right.
And I come over here, I come over here many times telling people, don't believe what I say.
Mhm.
Go look it up for yourself.
Right.
My
Mhm. Mhm.
the thing is, how does Putin know Tucker Carlson?
I would be that I don't know, but I'd imagine, huh?
Tucker, huh?
That's what they're trying to sell to us. Yes.
Right. Guys that paid opposition. All these guys are gatekeepers, is what I call them. Especially when you talk about the black and brown POC, people of color.
Yeah.
These guys, if they're doing this kind of stuff, they are the gatekeepers to the ones that want to keep the gate closed.
Good point.
So we need to look at these people as gatekeepers. And yeah, they say some powerful stuff against each other. And we are the worst people. We are the worst people at tearing our own kind down.
Yeah. That is true.
You see Mr. Carlson tearing Putin down. You don't see Trump tearing anybody else down. We are our worst enemies. And we die because of lack of knowledge.
Yeah. Hey, I agree, man.
Instead of tearing down each other, and let's try to get on the same page with some of this stuff.
Hey, I agree, man. Appreciate you, dog. Be good. Yep. You too. Yeah, people. Yeah, and that's where, like, at this current moment, given the environment we're in, would it be great if it was easy? And that's the difficult part is we kind of understand a lot of the problems we face, but then again, like, what are some actionable steps that could be taken towards a resolution or a solution? And that's the $1 million, I don't know, $1 billion, $1 trillion, I don't know, because most of the issues are not it's all they impact us all, but then again, like, they're hard to bring about complete change. And the first thing come to mind is, like, okay, just use it as an example, the civil rights movement. From what I was taught, wasn't around during the bulk of that, wasn't born yet, but what I was taught was that through the willingness of a few individuals to stand up and stand out in front of everybody as a voice for the multiple people, bit by bit, it started a movement that led to some change. And so ultimately, I could say, civil rights movement never really resolved the complete issue, because now we're all slaves because it's a monetary issue. But then again, when it comes to just race, people of color have more options. But then again, they just elevate the game that much higher. So even if you fight about something, they'll give in, but they're giving in because they already found a way to tweak it and one up you. So, like, right now, to your point, TB, we have more black billionaires than we did before COVID. And so those same mouthpieces that you mentioned, they're usually higher up, wealthier individuals. I can name a couple. We got the Kanye, the Rick Ross, the Jay-Z, and all the people who probably close to the billion mark, Puff Daddy, Diddy, and all those people. But then again, they know their limitations. They're literally mouthpieces because they talk about the things that, for the most part, keep all their fellow men and brothers and sisters beneath them, to where they are now put on a pedestal. They don't really help make much change in the community from what I see. But then again, they know that they have higher ups that they can't speak beyond. If they do, then they're going to be brought back down low. Similar to what happened to Kanye, went from a billionaire to like 100 millionaire. Still rich, but then again, he's not what he used to be. Diddy right now is being destroyed because, he's been chosen to be outed as, whatever he's done behind closed doors. Now they're making public to distract us. So I feel you, man. But, when it comes to solutions, like, it's about everybody, for the most part, being their own voice of change that they want to see for their family first, and then their immediate family, and then their neighborhood, and then their state, and then their country. And problem is, like, most people are not willing to take on that fight, man. You know what I'm saying? Not most people are distracted by either living or barely doing what they got to do to like take on a cause that they'll be willing to lay down their life for. And, you know, that's why, like, you know, what's the solution? You individually making some change in your family first, and then from there, teaching your kids so they can make change for their family, and we just branch out from there, if there's even time to do all that. So, long-winded answer, but then again, it's just some thoughts that came to mind. May or may not make sense. I don't know. But Killer Mike arrested. I saw it, but I didn't pay attention. I don't know why they arrested him. What else? Blacks have been locked out of the system. Locked out of the system. They've been given carrots, i.e., money, power, and influence. Like, they can do some things. You know, think about this now. We got more entertainers, regardless of color, with private jets. Like, that used to be a prestigious thing that only Wall Street type, you know, high paid business owner guys had. Now you could be a mediocre rapper and still have a, you know, a Boeing, or not a Boeing, but a, you know, say a G5, you know, for, you know, $2-3 million plane, and call yourself balling. Like, so they just give you more toys, allow you to get in the game with them, allow you to have equity in companies now. You know what I'm saying? They make the liquor, they give you 2% equity in the company. You are a part of a table, but you still don't make no decisions. You know what I'm saying? So they give people bits and pieces to make them feel a part of it, so they can promote that stuff to their community. Like, there's more black owned, no, there's more liquors now in the community, from, you name it. Now, if you're a former athlete like Laportier from Shannon Sharp, he got his own liquor. You know, Rick Ross is a brand liquor. Diddy got a liquor. They just poison their own community. Cigars, and now everybody smoke cannabis on every corner. Like, this is stuff they allow to keep us dumbed down, distracted, while they make money up top. They give the entertainers a cut of it, and then they suppress and kill the lower income, the users of that stuff. So anyway, I'm not taking more calls because I'll rant forever. But anyway, we're at that hour 7 point. And as always, just, you know, interesting events, man. Interesting events. But then again, we hopefully live to see another day and fight another fight, and, you know, praise God along the way. But more important is, you know, we all know at the all-encompassing, it's a spiritual problem, and the heart of it is their desire to keep Jesus Christ out of every single thing. And the power that the Word of God happened to have to change people's lives is what they don't want to talk about. We'll never have, apart from what's his name? I can't think of the guy who had a couple Grammys. The hip hop gospel artist guy. Anyway, the goal is not to make sure that stuff doesn't become mainstream. They won't allow it. Okay, but I'll rant forever. Don't want to do that anymore. All right, my good people. Tomorrow we'll find out what Tucker Carlson and Putin talked about, and then we'll talk about it tomorrow night. So check it out, and make sure you join us tomorrow night so we can talk about it. All right, my good people. Be blessed. Shalom.